Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for joining. This is the final day of our event. It's exciting. We are going to have group discussions in this morning. And there's another set of great discussions expected. I would like to invite, to open this morning session, I would like to invite our colleague, Brooke, to lead this session.
Thank you, Isao. Welcome, everyone. It's the last day. You made it. So we're going to start today with a couple of series of presentations from you all, and then we will move into, we'll leave some time for Q&A after each of those presentations. And then we'll move into kind of a full group discussion, kind of talking about broader themes, broader areas of support, next steps more generally that you see in terms of progressing your projects. Then we'll have a short coffee break, and then when we come back from the break, we'll hear from different funds at ADB, and then we'll close with some potential resources and next steps from our project team that you can tap into to further support your project as it gets developed. So I think we will go maybe reverse alphabetical order this time. So Thailand, that would be you. You can do it.
Oh, already.
I think you can go just here and pull up your.
Oh, I can see it. I can see it here. Okay, so the area to the east of Bangkok, including several provinces to the east and northeast of Bangkok, which you can see on the map there, are pretty flat, low-lying areas which are particularly susceptible to flooding. And in 2011, there was a massive flood which caused severe property damage and loss of life. And as part of the strategy to kind of deal with this moving forward, the Royal Irrigation Department has a master plan to increase the the drainage capacity, the conveyance of a series of canals, most of which are man-made. You can see them there in on the map in red and blue and green, and there is this. The proposal is basically to widen some of them, but mainly to dredge them and get rid of decades of accumulated sediment, and to install new water gates in certain, these are big structures, huge structures in some of the canals, and to rehabilitate existing gates and install more of a smart management system for water diversion and flood control. There's also down the bottom, you can see those green spots are pumps. the system relies a lot on pumping, especially when the tides are high and the flows are very high. So it's the master plan includes approximately 500 kilometers of irrigation canals. Sorry, part one of the 9-part master plan involves about 500 kilometers of canals. Average width is about 100 meters, but some of them are bigger than that. Some of them are smaller. ADB has been approached for financing of this together with World Bank, AFD, and OPEC Fund. It's proposed that ADB would be the lead financier, and I think the amount of funding envisaged is not exactly, I can't quite recall, but it's between $1 and $2 billion. So it's not a small amount of money, closer to 2 billion, I think. Now, the key beneficiaries, of course, are the farmers and the inhabitants, the local communities, because they live with periodic flooding as a reality. So, I mean, they are basically the beneficiaries. There are a lot of challenges. What's listed here is, flooding, water quality, biodiversity, community livelihoods, and resettlement. And it's the last two that are probably the single biggest challenge to this project, because the technology is not rocket science. But these canals, over the decades, have had, encroachers moving in, businesses, operators of restaurants and livelihood activities, fisheries. You have people with, cage fisheries and other businesses pumping water out of the canals to irrigate rice fields, building houses along the right-of-way of the canals. And these right-of-ways are government land owned by the king, actually. That's why, and granted to the irrigation department over 100 years ago. The challenge is not just simply resettling them, but how to resettle them and how to compensate, because the government is opposed to paying compensation because they consider them to be illegal. And obviously ADB's policy includes entitlements for illegal, informal occupants of land. Yeah, that's one of the challenges that I have as a resettlement person, how to creatively do the resettlement program so that it satisfies ADB's overall objectives of improving people's lives as part of and implementing resettlement as part of a development project, while not embarrassing the government by insisting on cash compensation to individual households. So there'll be a community approach is being looked at as a vehicle to implement the resettlement. So you can see the metrics of success: avoided flood damage, socioeconomic development, GHG emission reduction, water quality, biodiversity, additional irrigation, water volume for drought periods, a lot of benefits to this project. How does this work? It's not responding. This one, next. Have I gone? All right. So nature-based solutions, how to look for opportunities, and how to not only identify opportunities, but how to market this, how to sell this to the client, the borrower, and how to identify sources of funding. Those are things that we've been looking at. during this session. And our hosts have been very kind to, in fact, prepare most of this for me, because it's not an easy entry point. We need to be a little bit creative how we apply this, but there are several entry points that we are looking at. One is, linear wetlands, with parks, tree lines, etc., along the canals. Canals, 500 kilometers of canals. Some of them are fairly densely urban in nature. Others are very, very rural in nature, with lots of opportunity to perhaps develop the banks and the right of ways of the canals. Now, this would help in, water quality improvement, improved ecological conditions for fish in the canals, potential health benefits for communities. At the moment, there are issues with the communities along the side, the solid waste, water supply, and there could be benefits for subsistence fishing and also perhaps groundwater recharge. The whole eastern side of Bangkok has been subsiding for decades due to excess groundwater extraction. Now, the delivery partner has to be a Royal Irrigation Department. They are the borrower and the implementing agencies. What we don't know and what we need to consider is exactly where the space is to create these linear wetlands. This has to be carefully chosen. Land is a premium. Obviously, where the canals are, basically more or less rural, there'd be probably more scope down at the bottom, the downstream side with more urbanization. The land availability would be more of an issue. We need to look at what kind of fish are in the canals. At the moment, technically fishing is prohibited in the canals, and we're not sure whether that would be flexible, whether we'd be able to maybe introduce a certain degree of licensing for communities to fish. Otherwise, pumping in water in and out of the wetland for treatment would be another option to improve water quality and to help with flood mitigation. And we have to look at potentially connecting these wetlands to optimize them and optimize the hydraulic potential of the system. Another thing we've looked at is the dredging. There's going to be enormous volumes of silty material dredged out from the bottom of these canals. At the moment, we're not sure what is going to happen to that. Normally, the contractors are responsible for these dredging contracts. Periodically, for RID, the contractors are responsible for disposing of the dredged material. That's sort of part of their contract. We're not sure exactly how they do this. Probably take it somewhere to dry it and maybe dispose of it, maybe even sell it if it's nutrient rich and suitable. So one thing we could do with that dredged sediment in a different kind of approach would be to transport it down to the delta area and to restore or to mimic the natural flow or the natural morphology of the previously unaltered river system. And that would be beneficial to the habitat. And this would be, it would be necessary for our RID and contractors to buy into this. We need to look at the means of transport, whether it could be transported by barge or whether it would have to be transported by road. And there'd be other ministries involved that would be stakeholders in such a plan. We don't know if RID are interested in this. we also need to look at the financial implications to contractors who previously would be, maybe pricing this, the value of this sediment into their bids. So we don't really know. These are all ideas that we've thrown up during this 3-day workshop, which we obviously need to look at in more detail. What would be the frequency of dredging to maintain the delta, or any such delta in the future, and what would be the cost of transportation? That they all need to be considered. So apart from the project itself, there's going to be a significant resettlement component. Some of that resettlement will be reconstructing the communities that are already in place along the side of the canals. In other words, letting them stay where they are. We're going to hopefully be able to blend physical resettlement, relocation with resettlement in situ, where we clean up and reblock, reconstruct the existing resettlement, the existing encroachers, let's call them occupants, land users, in their original locations without moving them. That has been done by the resettling agency that we're going to be working with in other projects. We hope will be able to be used here as well. It won't be able to be used all the way along. There will have to be some physical resettlement to new locations as well. And these new locations could be constructed together with wetlands and crop switching at the resettlement sites. So this would assist to improve the water quality around the new resettlement sites, perhaps assist farmers to achieve higher income, and provide improved habitat for migratory birds as well. This would all add value to the resettlement process and possibly assist the project in achieving its objectives of improving people's lives. Would add to that, and would be done in conjunction with livelihood development. So delivery partners there would be obviously RID, need to buy into it. CODI is the Community Organization Development Institute. It is a government institute, but they have done a lot of slum upgrading projects, and they operate a community approach to resettlement. They don't compensate or resettle individual households per se, but they adopt a community approach. They provide community infrastructure. They establish community groups to manage livelihood training, infrastructure development, reconstruction of houses. They provide cheap loans for both housing construction and business development. And they are the vehicle that are going to be the main drivers of the social development and the resettlement on this. So they would need to also be a very important part. Just contractors as well, and capacity building would need to be built in to such a program to manage the constructed wetlands and crop switching. That might be a Department of Agricultural Extension. So there's a few delivery partners that need to be consulted and need to be on board. So the constructed wetlands would filter waste before being discharged into the canal system, and part of this livelihood program would probably entail a change in the cropping that would be undertaken. So we'd need to change the way of introduce new techniques. So a lot of considerations there. I'm probably taking too long, so I'm going to have to speed up. How much time have I got? 8 more minutes. Okay. So, other NBS options that we're looking at are levee setbacks and floodplain reconnection of the mainstream Jarpaya. that definitely would have a flood attenuation benefits and provide habitat for aquatic species and migratory birds. Here, of course, again, RID and communities and CODI need to be involved, particularly if it's part of a resettlement, part of the resettlement program. We're not, obviously RID would have to be interested. A hydraulic model would have to show the impacts and benefits. So there's a bit of analysis need to be done. Land availability and ownership, that's going to be a big consideration. Impact on upstream economic activity and communities in affected areas as well. Now, there's also another option we looked at is reducing the sediment coming in to the entire catchment. Can we do things upstream to reduce the amount of sediment entering the Chapaya basin from the upper watershed outside of the project area? So this would be, outside the existing master plan, would involve, farmers, landowners, and would possibly include reforestation of, key areas. So that these target interventions would, reduce the sediment inputs upstream and reduce the dredging costs to RID in the future. Finally, there's the option of perhaps groundwater recharge, infiltration, or injection. This would provide additional water storage. Groundwater-dependent ecosystems would benefit. Mitigation of subsidence issues, which I mentioned earlier, could be potential benefits of groundwater recharge. RID would need to be on board, and probably the Bangkok Metropolitan Administration, BMA, would also be a delivery partner on that. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential entry points for NBS that we've identified in our discussions. And I better get on to the next slide. So green infrastructure, alternative wetting and drying would reduce GHG emissions, groundwater recharge, and promote more efficient use of surface water. The rice paddy farmers would be primary partners in such a scheme. RID, of course, regarding water provision, and apparently GIZ have piloted this in some upstream areas, which we will need to look at. We need to look at the water table levels, rainfall, impact on agricultural productivity, how this fits into the RID master plan. Terraced rice paddies, again, would improve the situation with regard to flood protection, productivity if mixed with other activities, and productive use of sediment. Farmers, RID, CODI, contractors to build and construct these terraces would have to all be on board. And again, the question of the viability of the dredged sediment would be important. How to dry it, how long it's going to take to dry it, and would we need pumping to pump water up to higher terraces? That is a potential constraint. Sacrificial flooding is another area which we've looked at. This is certainly would help with flood risk management, but again, farmers, RID, relevant local governments need to all be in coordination for such an approach. Pumping may need to be used at certain locations. Farmer compensation and motivation would be a key consideration. And also the ability to stop sacrificial floods from affecting adjacent non-participating farmers. How would that work? That would be a big technical challenges. So the green resettlement, there are many options there. I mentioned the different types of resettlement, full resettlement to building new communities for resettlers, or reconstructing their existing houses and businesses along the canals where they already are, to some extent, and then there's non-structural measures, insurance. I'm not quite sure how that would work. Is there such a thing as flood insurance for farmers along the Chapaya River, or for local governments, or for businesses, or for perhaps industries that are on in that area? There are some industrial estates. So that's the last item on the list, probably grasping at straws there with insurance. So I think there's one more slide. No, that's it. No, one more. So next steps. This is where we have to go with these 6 items. So for groundwater recharge, there are knowledge gaps for all of these items. For groundwater recharge, we need to look at the water table level, permeability, aquifer locations, connectivity between the aquifers, the feasibility technically of groundwater injection or recharge. And we need to look at the groundwater dependent ecosystems, quality of rechargeable water significant for overall objectives. And we need to look at the extent to which subsidence is still happening. I know it was a huge issue some 20 years ago, and they've restricted heavily the use of groundwater in industrial estates and other, I think even municipal level water supplies, to try and prevent this subsidence. 20 years ago, I was working in that area. I'm not sure what's happened in the meantime. We need to have a look and see what the situation is now with the groundwater table there, saltwater intrusion, things like that. So that's going to take a bit of study time to look at the relevant data, maps, and to assess the viability of groundwater recharge. We need to look at water quality and non-point source pollution from agriculture and human waste, how it's impacting the water quality in the canals and the Chapaya River. Not sure about the quality and fitness for consumption of the fish that are caught in those canals, and the presence of industrial contaminants is something that's a possibility as well. So next steps there are to test the water quality, siphon a portion of samples for DNA analysis, and test some fish for presence of heavy metals. So that will be done as part of an ongoing technical assistance in preparing for the project. So the scope of the MBS project, we have to look at Thailand's sustainable development agenda. We'll have a look at the social and economic development plan and see how we could perhaps leverage MBS in the portfolio. Can RID be convinced, or will they say, oh yeah, that would be nice, but we can't afford it, we don't want the cost of the project to go up? How can we sell that to them? So we're going to review some of the plans and get our ideas solidified and structured, so that we can present this to RID as part of the project preparation. And it'll be important to frame the project in the context of the master plan and national priorities. So a bit of work to be done there to scope the project. We're going to look at ecotourism options as well. There are bike paths already constructed around Bangkok Airport, in the Suvarnabhumi Airport. What are the options? That's not that far away. So what are the options of expanding those? Potential of ecotourism tax and other incentives might be worth looking at. And there are other associated ministries that might need to be consulted, tourism, BMA, etc. We need to look more at biodiversity, conduct an assessment, and look at ways in which the project design can optimize the safeguarding of critical biodiversity in the region. And of course, sacrificial flooding needs to be very carefully looked at in terms of, is it even viable, and if so, where? There's a lot of work to be done in terms of looking, studying some maps, considering the land use types and crop types that are now being grown, and what are the possible impacts from the flooding, the sacrificial flooding. It has to be discussed with RID once we have some solid, viable pre-feasibility ideas, and we need to look at this beyond the 500 kilometers of canals and expand in an expanded project area. So, yeah, sorry that's rushed through a little bit, but we've got a lot of homework to do. Got a lot of ideas out of this session the last few days, thanks to the, Brooke and Lyndon and Ben and team for helping us with to come up with this brainstorming event. Highly appreciated. Certainly, Jeff Wilson and I will be spending a lot of time taking this to the next step, and hopefully we'll communicate our ideas with you in the future. Thanks.
For like 1 or 2 questions.
Mike, for your great presentation. That was really interesting and practical. Congratulations. I'm quite interested in various measures you are thinking about, like linear wetlands, constructed wetlands, as well as upstream sedimentation, reducing NBS. Sacrificial flooding is also very interesting. Controlled flooding, and you use rice. I understand you use rice paddies as retention and detention basins. If you can combine that with non-structural measures such as insurance scheme as well as PES, I think that would be very innovative. Just a few points for erosion and sedimentation controls. There are several specific promising NBS that would include meander restoration, retention and detention basins, as well as land use management as a soft measure. There's a technical guide available entitled NBS Natural River Management that we have published. So we would be happy to share that with you. Landscape perspective. I understand that your project is part of the big program. You have a total of 9 projects in that program. So I would like to encourage you and your team to explore potential opportunities for trying to identify root causes as well as the best possible solutions. That would help you, I think, identify entry points and further investment opportunities in multiple sectors that can help expand your business in your area. Co-financiers. I'm glad that the AFD and OPEC fund are already involved. I would like to suggest informing NSFH, Nature Solutions Finance Hub, That's also AFD and OPEC funds are involved in that initiative.
And World Bank, yeah.
World Bank, as well as other big financiers. So it would be good to inform NSFH, especially fund managers at ADB, about your project. They are looking for good opportunities, investment opportunities, so they would be happy to support you, in my understanding, especially Anuj, your country director. NSFH is the baby of him.
Oh, really? Okay,
so
good.
it would be good to talk to him, definitely.
Okay. Well, thanks.
Thank
I
you.
didn't hear the question there, but I certainly got the message of the comments, and I'd be interested in looking at that publication that you mentioned as well. Well noted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
I just want to try, okay. Make sure I can use it. Okay, good morning, everyone. How much time do we have for each presentation? 15 minutes. 15 minutes, okay. I will try to be efficient, maximum maybe 10 minutes. I want to be quick. First of all, the project overview. I think as of today, you must have already be very familiar with the project. It's a Shandong. The project is located in the Qixia city in Shandong province, eastern China. The key beneficiaries, including local governments and different bureaus. There are many relevant bureaus under the Qixia city government that we are working together with, and agricultural producers that mainly the apple farmers, and also the local community, the local residents, and of course, very importantly, our ecosystem. So the key challenges we want to address, one is about water, it's water shortage, water scarcity, and also, of course, in Qixia city's government's concept is a water storage issue. They want to retain the water as long as possible in their area. And also the flooding, they do have sometimes have the floods, especially that's considering the climate change threats. And also the water pollution is also an issue, mainly from the non-point source pollution from agriculture, and also the debris, solid waste from the in the river channel, and also of course the river channel, the water erosion. And also for the forest, we have the forest health issue, mainly threatened by the pineweed disease. And we have, the agricultural pollution as well, mainly the plastic waste used by the farmers to cover the land and to reflect the sunshine for the apples. You already know that here Qixia is a major apple production area in China. And also, of course, the soil quality, I have mentioned many times already. And the key metrics of success for the project, the very important one is the improved natural capital. This in line with the key challenges, of course, it's mainly the water quality, water quantity, and forest, the soil quality, and also the agricultural productivity. And the priority co-benefits, very importantly, we have been talking a lot in this workshop, the biodiversity benefits, and of course to protect the local communities from flooding, to engage the community, local communities, to activate the local residents and make it more lively in the local area. And also we are encouraging ecotourism.
I don't know how many of you can read this clearly. Can you? Yeah, it's very hard for me if I'm sitting back there. Anyway, so anticipated nature-based solutions. Under the project, actually, we have already designed quite many NBS features. I will also follow the order, like the water, the soil, forest. So that's more natural for me. So first of all, for the rivers, for the water, we have identified in-stream habitat restoration. This mainly to improve the water quality and the biodiversity, to help retain the water longer in the river channel, and also to help with the erosion issues. The anticipated partners, we have, of course, the government, who is actually leading and driving the whole project. They are the most important counterpart, the stakeholder for the project. And then the design institute recruited by the government, they do the technical design and the detailed design, etc. And the local construction firm, this we are referring to the contractors who will be actually delivering the projects. And also the Bureau of Environment and Ecology, who will be doing the monitoring. And the river chief, you must have heard a lot about China's river chief system. We will also try to identify some ways to how to improve or strengthen or expand the river chief system under the project. So some key considerations, we need to think about the consistency of river flows, improvement of the river chief systems and vegetation inside river channels, and how to best utilize the cleared materials. Thanks, Brooke, for her suggestion about this natural barrier idea. I think that's very much that's a very good suggestion and very related to the project. And also how to involve the local community in measuring the benefits, especially the biodiversity improvement. This part, I think, needs to be strengthened under the project. And then for the river, we also have the river buffer rehabilitation activities. Mainly, it's a revegetation and the green embankments. The benefits is also for the water quality, biodiversity, and also productive use of levee floodplain area. The partners are similar. I don't want to repeat it. And also the considerations, we need to consider the width of the bioshield to filter the non-point source pollution runoff, and also thinking about how to better design. Actually, this is already in the project design, but how to improve it, the placement of the green embankments and permeable barriers, etc. We will consider. And for the wetland rehabilitation construction, the purpose is quite similar for the previous two. I don't want to repeat, and also for the partners is the same. And key considerations, we have the natural capital accounting system to be established under the project. We will consider how to use this as an entry point to involve the private sector, and also how to better involve the local citizens for biodiversity monitoring. I think there is one more, maybe I just go here. NBS. Yeah, and then for the soil part, I want to go to the soil part next. For the soil part, we are doing a smart orchards. For the smart orchards, maybe you have heard about it. Mainly that we are encouraging we are encouraging drip irrigation for the smart orchard, which is to establish automated irrigation system, which has both water and some fertilizer, and to reduce the use of fertilizer and to improve the irrigation efficiency. And this is a pilot program. We are trying to do a pilot and at a relatively large scale, and to motivate more future scaling up. This is also the consideration in the consideration part here is also some opportunities for us to consider how to incentivize and to find more after the pilots have been completed, and how to involve private sectors, how to let the local co-ops play a leading role to scale up the successful models. And also the mixed cropping in the orchards, and this is also very good suggestion from Brooke. I think this is also encouraging the farmers to do some mixed cropping in their orchards, so that to improve, one is to improve the soil health, and to reduce the use of fertilizers, and also encourage some maybe ecotourism opportunities. In here, the partner part, in addition to what I have mentioned earlier, we also will involve the academia, the local agricultural institute, and to let them help to identify the most appropriate crops that can be mixed cropped in the orchards. Of course, we will need to consult with the farmers and the local government, the agricultural bureau, etc., and to seek for their feedback on this suggestion. I think I'm done with this slide. I go to next. Yeah, this one, anticipated NBS, the second page. Now I go to, still on the soil. I think the agricultural plastic waste, that's another one related to the soil. As I mentioned earlier, there are plastics being used by the farmers under the project. We actually, under the project, under the current project design, we are helping the local SMEs, actually just a few local SMEs, a small and medium enterprise, who will collect and recycle the used agricultural plastic, and to recycle them and to make them into some new products and sell those. And Brooke and Eric had some very good suggestion yesterday, and to link this part with the ecotourism, maybe can use to recycle the plastic and try to make some, like, for example, the benches for the new hiking rails. So this can link this part together with the ecotourism component. So I think this is also a very good suggestion. And also under our smart farm pilot program, we can consider introducing some new plastic sheets, or maybe some biodegradable plastics to avoid the pollution from the plastics, and to try to help improve in this regard. For this, we will only first the pilot in this smart orchard program. If it's successful, because one consideration is that the farmers might be quite sensitive to the price, so we can only wait and see how it will go, and then we can consider scaling it up. And for the bioreactor for non-point source pollution, This one, I don't remember we discussed it yesterday, but I like it. I saw it this morning. I think it's a very good idea. Maybe we can talk a little bit more about it afterwards. I think my understanding that the basic idea is to collect and filtrate the agricultural runoff so that to filter the nutrients before it's discharged into the river. Using a digital elevation model. This part I would be interested to discuss more with you after the meeting. And then for the forest restoration and management, this is another NBS feature that we have designed under the project, and the anticipated benefits include, of course, the biodiversity improvement and reduce the fire risk and the forest health. And the partners, it's quite similar. The government and the Bureau of Ecology, actually we have the Bureau of Natural Resources, and they will also be involved. And the key considerations is how to, maybe we can consider how to best design the access roads under the current design. What are the impacts of the access roads that will affect the hydrology and the pollutant runoff, and what is the best place to build the roads. I'm sure the design institute recruited by the government have considered those factors, but during the project implementation period, we can work together with the government and to further assess those factors and to improve the project design. And the last two items are some financial mechanisms designed under the project. The first one is a farmer PES. We call it under our project we will establish a small green fund. This green fund will actually the farmers will be paid directly with a very small amount of money, so that they will choose to use more organic fertilizers rather than unsustainable agricultural practices under the project. So that we will reduce the use of the fertilizers and to reduce the non-point source pollutions. And also the organic certification program is also included in the project design. This is also a pilot. We will, because the apples in Xixia City is actually quite famous in China. However, it's facing very severe competition from other areas and other countries as well. I mean, in the international market, of course. So they are trying to certify their to first, of course, to grow the apples in a more organic way, and then to certify the apples internationally, so that they have a better unit price and also more productivity. So this is also a pilot program to be included in the project, and the farmers, if they feel that if it's a success, and I think there will be plenty of opportunities to attract the private sector, the local co-ops, etc., to join the program and to expand the organic planting and also the certification program to make it larger and larger. And another is the ecotourism. For the ecotourism is mainly the local government. Under our current project, is the local government is helping construct the local rural roads and some other infrastructures, like, for example, the wastewater treatment facilities, water supply facilities. Those are, in the rural area, very scattered infrastructures. And then we will also promote the farmers to apply the environmental friendly agricultural practice, and also they have apples and cherries and the mountains, and also they grow some traditional Chinese medicine, the herbs in the area. So there is a big potential to attract tourism from Yantai city, from Shandong province, and all over the country, and maybe all over the world. And you are all very more than welcome to visit the beautiful area. So that plenty of opportunities for ecotourism. We are also expecting that this part can grow. Other than just the agriculture, the apple production, they can expand their industries and to some include ecotourism opportunities. And then for the next steps, the first one is the holistic view of the plan. Thanks a lot for Eric. Very good thinking. We have so many different components under the project, incorporating different features, NBS features. So how do we manage them together? How do we let them interact with each other? So 1 + 1 = 3 rather than 1 + 1 = 1.5 to make it a larger impact. Yeah, this one, I like the idea that Eric has suggested a lot. It's to build the hydrological model, so that to factor in different factors under the model, and then to quantify. Use a more scientific approach, and then to quantify the benefits, to build the model, and then to quantify the NBS benefits. And of course, other components as well, and to look at the overall benefits to be generated under the project. And of course, all our ADB staff know that under each of our project, there is a DMF, the designed monitoring framework, under which we have different sets of indicators at different levels. For the impact, outcome, and outputs level, we have different indicators to be monitored regularly and reported to in the quarterly progress reports to ADB. And then by the project completion, we will summarize and assess and evaluate whether the project is successful, highly successful, or unsuccessful. This is a very major standard. And then for the next steps is to monitor the benefits and foster co-ownership. This one I also like a lot. I think the Chinese government is very good at planning, a holistic way of thinking, and also do a long-term, medium-term, short-term planning. But for the benefit, for the monitoring, data collection, and the monitoring, building models, using scientific approach, etc., those are the areas that we need to help them to strengthen. And also the fostering the co-ownership, of course, to involve more the local communities, especially the young generation, the students from schools, and to how to involve them better, and for the public education. This is also the area that the Chinese government need to strengthen. And for the mixed cropping system, we will, as I mentioned earlier already, I will bring it back to our team and to further discuss with our clients. And for the private sector investment, we saw a lot of opportunities potentially, like for the co-cropping system, ecotourism investment, and in the natural capital accounting, how to put it on the market, and organic certification, those kind of areas that we have discussed earlier. I think we can, as a next step, we can further explore, including with some of our internal ADB internal departments, as Isao yesterday joined our group discussion, and has very nicely recommended the ADB Natural Capital Lab for the natural capital accounting and the quantification, and the ADB OMDP people for the carbon quantification and carbon markets development, etc. Those areas, as next step, we will explore further. And for the in-stream restoration, the natural barriers that we have discussed earlier, for this part, I think we will further discuss with the Design Institute and try to see, identify areas for the improvement of the project design. And for the ecotourism, we will further improve the design and the feasibility or fee or other economic instruments to fund the O&M. This part we are talking about the environmental taxes and environmental fee, things like that, as an economic instrument to help build up the industry. We will discuss with our ADB colleagues on sustainable destination management approach. This is also suggested by Isao. Thank you. We will explore that in this area. Yeah, I think the financing mechanism and future operation and maintenance are the main, is a very important area that we will bring back from here and to to further explore with the project team and the local governments. This is also an area very often being ignored to some degree by our counterparts. So I think this is the area we can strengthen. So I think I have mentioned these 2 points already. And for the last one, yes, we will continue our discussion with our TNC team to plot out next steps and priority actions. We will definitely do that. And thank you so much for all your efforts helping improving the project design, thinking about so many wonderful ideas and good suggestions for me to bring it back to our project team, and also the government, local government, our clients and design institutes, consultants, all of the stakeholders. We can work together with them to improve the design. And also thanks, Isao, again for your help with the discussions yesterday. Very important suggestions. Yeah, but with all that said, I just want to mention that the project design has already been completed by this stage, and the ADB board is expected to approve the project October the 15th. But following that, we will have a 5-year implementation period. It's going to be a long period. We will have plenty of opportunities to identify and to improve the project. So I also want to let you know, please be patient. This is on our agenda. We will do that, but please be patient and continue to offer your valuable help to us. Thank you. And all welcome you to Qixia. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the great presentation and the great output. It's not just a presentation, really. I was very interested in the first and second next steps. You've mentioned a holistic approach to all the NBS options, and the next one is for monitoring of of benefits. Our colleagues from TNC and Monash University, I think they presented an interesting framework of stacking benefits, where you have a list of NBS options, how they support ecosystem services, and what benefits do they create and for whom. So maybe that is a good framework to look at. It's easy to represent, it's easy to see the interconnectedness of the different NBS options that you have. And at the end, you can see the benefits that you would likely monitor. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, the project is quite multi-sector. Actually, as you can see, it involves different sectors, different areas, and we are working with five or six bureaus, local bureaus under the Qixia city government, who is responsible for different areas of the work, including the water, soil, forest, agriculture, ecotourism. So it is quite important to integrate all those components together. That's why we are trying to demonstrate integrated ecosystem management approach. After all the ecosystems are interconnected to one another. If we want to improve the water quality, the forest, the soil, they are all interconnected. So it's quite important to use the holistic and integrated approach. We will throughout the project implementation stage, we will try to make it more systematic. And I think you have summarized the two slides very well, very clearly. We will follow that model and to try to present in a systematic way what are the ecosystem benefits and who are the beneficiaries, who are the stakeholders, what kind of role played, and how to scale them up, etc., to make it more systematic results, and so that we can help scaling it up in other areas in China and then maybe in other countries if interested. Thank you.
Thank you, Xiaoyan, for your great presentation. I really got inspired by your great ideas. Your project is like a department store of a lot of good NBS options. That's great. Both structural and non-structural measures, including even ecotourism and circular economy concept. That's great. I have two quick points. One is maybe our experts can also help. It's about the right mix. I remember Ben mentioned that several times. How can we optimize our investments? And then I'm glad that Xiaoyan has already started thinking about that. Maybe as Xiaoyan said, it's a good idea to do the scenario analysis with modeling exercise, as Eric mentioned. That's a great approach. Another thing, this is what Ben in his lecture mentioned. There are several steps, 5 steps, 7 steps to approach. He was talking about this in a urban context, but I think approach can be applied in a rural context too. And what I thought was important was consider several NBS interventions as a, he said, network of interventions. And then Xiaoyan mentioned systematic analysis and evaluation. That's very important. So I would like to keep it in mind when we move forward. And if later, if you have any additional points, please share with us. About the bioreactor quickly, yes, it's a very, I think, promising, one of the promising NBS options. We do have, there's a great organization called Jaragan Eco Services in Australia, Cairns. They have a nice beach too. They use this bioreactor as part of their wetland management conservation. And then they try to address non-point source pollution, protect the Great Barrier Reef. And they are working with the academia. James Cook University is supporting this. So that's a great example. We do have a great network with them. So I would be happy to connect them. Thank you.
Thank you. I look forward to learn more about those. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, colleagues. Before restarting, allow me to thank Ben, Lyndon, and the expert to help prepare this presentation. So thank you. The project's overview, the project name is Coastal Town Climate Resilience Projects in Bangladesh. And under this projects currently being implemented in 22 coastal municipalities, of which 3 municipalities, Moralganj, Bagherhat, and Dakov, these 3 municipalities already identified for the NBS piloting. And the key beneficiaries for these projects, definitely the local residents of this municipality, in particularly focus on the women, children, and elderly, and municipality as well. So it is a coastal town, so the major challenges includes the flood. Nowadays, we are also facing the extreme heat and temperatures. So, and coastal erosion is one of the big challenges. So water quality, in particular the salinity institution from the sea, and also the waste management. It shouldn't the waste management, it should the the no waste management, actually the big challenges over there. So the project will address these challenges, and the key output of these projects is to the municipal infrastructures will be improved. Infrastructure meaning that the road, drainage, bridge, culvert, market, and also we have some economic infrastructure like market, bus, and shelters. Livelihood of these municipalities people will be improved. And the third output is the institutional capacity building of the municipalities and as well as the people of these municipalities. And there are also some co-benefit from these projects, that is the slum informal settlement. There is many slums. So the slum improvement, definitely one of women empowerment, one of the key co-benefit from these projects. Employment generations and income generations, and also the health outcome. So these are the co-benefit for these projects. So I will not go details to the slides. Just I will give you the glimpse of the slides. So as of now, actually, the project has been started just 1.5 years back. We have some startup delays for 1 year. So we can say that's the beginning of these projects. The project's duration is on 7 years. And as of now, what basically we did in collaboration with GCA, Global Center of Adaptations, that climate risks inform profile for the each municipalities has been prepared. Oh, it's not coming here. Okay, sorry. So town risk profile already prepared for this project. So based on this profile, as I mentioned previously, so the main climate hazards is rainfall, that's definitely high temperatures, heat wave, sea level rise, water salinity, coastal erosions, and definitely the cyclones and the natural disaster is one of the major climate hazards. So what would I like to say that based on this actually climate hazards, there are number of NBS scope can be implemented. So yesterday we discussed that there will be a number of, I mean, you can say the menu of the NBS options. The number of the NBS options has been proposed. This could be like detention of, I mean, this is all the jargon, even I don't know, I mean, what they said here, to be honest, yeah. So, but what I said, basically this NBS option, what we'll do that from the expertise, we'll take the menu of the NBS options. So based on the field needs, based on the consultations with the community and the municipality, they can choose the NBS options. Why we decided? Because of in these projects, the 3 towns that have already been selected. So there are some fund from the projects, but the specific intervention has not been yet decided. So we are working with the GCA. So they are basically helping to prepare the interventions. And to prepare this implementation, they have already prepared this town risk profile and this master plan. So what we decided yesterday, that we can also get the expert opinion from TNC and the Monash University to look into this risk profile and also the NBS options that we got from the GCA. And based on this menu, we will have a consultations with the municipality people and also the mayors to select the appropriate options. And once we finalize the appropriate options, the project is supported by number of consulting firm. So one is the consulting firm we call the design development consultant. So they can help for design and prepare the BOQ. And the next is we can go for the implementations. Go. So, okay. So this is for the discuss. This is for the three municipalities, but this projects there's 22 municipalities. So what also we had discussed that usually when we implement our projects, there are always savings within the projects. And I believe this project will have the more savings at the end, because when we prepared the projects, that time the dollar rate was like 1 USD equal to 86. Now we have a more than 110. So there will be almost 20% more manual aid is there. So there will be savings. So if you have a good pilot and we have a best cases, then this can be also implemented at all the municipalities. So I'll go for the here, propose the next step for the discussions. So before that, I also would like to mention one point that under these projects, we have prepared one guideline. This guideline we call the Open Space Development Guideline. This is short name. So this is, though this is not the part of the NBS, but yesterday discussions or the last 2 days discussions, I feel that this guideline also can be improved and can be a part of the NBS. So I have already sent this guideline to Ben and the expert teams. So discussion is, as I said, that they will identify the number of NBS options, and then after we'll pilot in 3 municipalities. But let me go to here. Oh, it's done. Okay. I'm here. Okay. So the menu of the coastal towns to have, and then as I said, refer to the ADB's open space guideline as appropriate. And then we can refine the proposals where we have got from the GCA and the consultant team. And then next step basically to discuss with the trust fund managers if there is an opportunity for the collaborations or capacity building initiative. So this could be done in 2 ways. One, the expert teams can go to Bangladesh they can visit the selected 3 municipality, come up with the idea and also the NBS menu, and can suggest to the municipalities and discuss with the municipalities and the people and come up with these appropriate options. Or if there is a provisions that we can also build capacity of the engineers of 3 municipalities and the local government engineering divisions to have some exposure visits so that they can see their own eyes, they can basically perceive the concept, and they can help in the municipalities with their knowledge to build the appropriate NBS options, or both can be done together. So I think this is the last steps that and then we also discussed that have been on capture here. So the idea is also to prepare one NBS strategy for Bangladesh, entire Bangladesh, because though NBS is not is the new concept, but there are many NBS practice we have been doing since long. But once if you see the Bangladesh policy document, what about the 8-5 strategies or the visioning plan, or we have also NAP. So NBS is not, highlighted in these policy documents. So once we have the pilot, we have some base case study, so we can prepare one policy brief. Based on the policy brief, we can also, as the entry point, we can consult, we can have policy dialogue with the government to prepare a national NBS strategy for the Bangladesh. And so this is the CTCRP. This is the, we have also planned to go for the second phase of CTCRP at the end of 2027. So based on the success, so the next projects we can have implement in the wider skills throughout the Bangladesh. So thank you. I'll stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. And I worked long time in Bangladesh, and I'm still working there, mainly in the transport sector. So I like your idea of the menu of options and then having this kind of stakeholder engagement and trying to work together in identifying the option which is appropriate for the respective local municipality. So for the higher level, national level NBS strategy you were mentioning, I guess this, I think mine is more of a comment, actually, not a question. I guess this menu of options will very much be a key part of that national level strategy. So I think it all kind of lines up quite nicely, the ideas that you mentioned. And for the menu of options, I'm wondering whether this is something, and perhaps this is to the experts here, if this is something which can be made like beyond Bangladesh, because this menu of options, particularly in coastal areas, I assume it's easily applicable to
other countries.
I think that's what you mentioned, right? Coastal areas, yeah. So I think that's a good in terms of maximizing the information, because you're going to go through this process of anyway compiling the different options, right? So perhaps it can be made with the view to like maybe have a general one and then option to tweak things a little bit to make it a little bit more relevant for Bangladesh. So, I mean, that's just another idea that I was thinking when you presented. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
For your inputs. Thank you, Mamu, for your great presentation too. Your action plan is great with concrete ideas, next steps. I agree with Karma. You have a good menu already of NBS options. That's including capacity building and pilot demonstration. That's great. Just one point. I'm glad that we have in the latter session we have small section to introduce our colleagues from trust funds. We have Kiyoshi already from URTF Urban Resilience Trust Fund. We do have Tanya from Water Partnership Facility, and they are looking for good investment opportunities. And definitely, Mamu, we are lucky. For example, your country, NBS is their one of their priority
Country.
themes, and Bangladesh is one of the priority countries. So definitely we would like to encourage you to exchange views and ideas so that they might have so they can explore opportunities to possibly support your project. So that's, I hope you can benefit from that session. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I will introduce the rehabilitation of Komitas Park, which is located in the capital city of Armenia in Yerevan. We have separated direct and indirect beneficiaries of the project. So among the direct beneficiaries will be local residents of the districts with the focus on children and elderly people. Also, there are 3 residential buildings nearby the park, so that these residential buildings residents will be among the direct beneficiaries. Overall, tourist visitors, Komitas Museum and Pantheon, which are located in the bigger area of the park. Among the indirect beneficiaries, we have identified Yerevan Mall visitors. There is a big mall nearby the park, so the visitors, it's on a walking distance. Commuters, residents of 2 neighboring districts. So with the rehabilitation of the new road, the center will be connected to the 2 new districts, and these residents will have the opportunity to visit the park. Among the benefits, we have also key challenges to address with this component. So first of all, air quality, which is getting worse in Yerevan, and stormwater management. In the recent years, we have a lot of floods in Armenia, and this year it was we have experienced a lot of floods in Yerevan. Biodiversity conservation. Community engagement, to engage the diverse groups of people to achieve better results, and overall green infrastructure advocacy. So among the key metrics of success, we have identified improved air quality, so reduced particulate matters, reduced dust. So we will do the regular monitoring during the construction and after the construction activities to see how the air quality was improved. Reduced vehicle miles traveled. So with these components, with the construction of the road, we will have reduction in the distance, travel distance by 2 kilometers, and reduction of 10 minutes in the travel time. Number of trees planted. We're going to plant around 4,800 new trees and bushes along the road and the park. Volume of storm water managed, improved water quality, increased number of park visitors, and people engaged with project design and implementation. So for the priority co-benefits, we will have recreational amenities and park activation. So with the newly renovated park, we will have more visitors to come and visit the park. And we will use native heat and drought resistant tree species restoration. So we will use the native species which are climate resistant. It will bring to the heat reduction and wind mitigation through installation of wind protection nets. So for this component, for this project, we have applied some kind of comprehensive approach. So we have looked not only to the nature-based solutions to be applied to the park, directly to the park, but also outside of the park, to the neighboring areas. We're trying to see what kind of benefits can be done for the neighboring areas. For example, so here we have a newly suggested road to be rehabilitated, which is ending to the very right part. We have a park to be rehabilitated, and we have looked also in the neighboring area, which we have just next to the road, the area of 66 hectares, which will become the new residential area. And then we have the Yerevan Lake, which can be a recreational area and can serve as a bike lane, so that the bike lanes can start from the park and then go along the river. We have a Razdan River, and then going through the Yerevan Lake. And also we have looked in the left upper corner, we have 250 hectares of forest area, which we also considered for restoration. And we have a request from the Yerevan municipality to look for the options and possibilities to apply solutions, nature-based solutions for restoration of the forest, which is now in a bad condition, and it's I would say deforestation is going on there. So let's look at the nature-based solutions to be applied in and outside the park. First of all, air quality improvement. So we were thinking about green walkways and groves. So walls and pathways, which will ensure shade, connectivity, and accessibility. So the park will have all the amenities for the people with disabilities, so that they don't have any issues for visiting parks. Understanding native species potential for air quality improvements and climate considerations, and also monitoring of NBS impact for air quality versus baseline. So during the preparation of the project, some baseline assessment was done for the air quality, and this will be monitored on a regular basis. And also we have looked, as I've mentioned, for outside the park for forest restoration possibilities. This will be tree planting, pest management, and also sustainable urban mobility linkages, and usage of the 66 hectares of land area, which we hope will be included in the master plan which is being prepared by the Yerevan municipality and will be shared with the ADB very soon. So the other benefit which we will have is the storm water management. The practices in the Komitas Park can be catchment chain, rainwater harvesting to mitigate downstream impacts and provide water source, collection from park and roadway bridge. And outside the park, we consider the option of that the park assists in managing runoff from new development to improve water quality in Yerevan Lake, which we have seen in the BAMP. For the other options, for the other benefits, which is biodiversity conservation. So native plantings considering future climate. We have more heats recently and more floods, and apparently we have identified during the assessment 19 species, 19 plants called Platanum, which were included in the Red Book and which are considered as endangered species. So they are located on the area of the road to be rehabilitated. Unfortunately, 9 out of these 19 trees should be cut, but this will not lead to the extinction of these species. But instead, another 4,800 new plants and bushes will be planted around the road and the park area. Outside the park, another practices are habitat connectivity to nearby areas. So having a healthy ecosystem will ensure a corridor for birds movement. So for community engagement, which is very important component, we are thinking of stakeholder mapping. So this will be mall, local residents, sports groups, citizen science components around NBS education and care, for example, engaging American University of Armenia students and engaging also students from environmental department of architectural university to gain the ideas to do the brainstorming. And also we plan to have community events and art gallery, music spaces linking to Komitas history, as this park has a historical and cultural significance because of the existence of, so just to let you know that Komitas is a famous Armenian singer, composer, whose songs were like he was accepted as a founder of Armenian traditional music. And he was also a priest, so interesting combination. And there is a pantheon there in the park, and people are visiting the pantheon, and there is a museum named after the Komitas. So, and we have just nearby the park, we have a state college of fine arts. And also we have a great idea to organize exhibitions in the park using the sculptures, paintings, so it may create more interest among the visitors. But of course, the linkage to broader master planning for Yerevan is another thing to consider, and this, of course, all these activities will contribute to tourism activation and boost local economy. In the recent years, we have a lot of tourists from Pacific countries, which was not the case before. And among the benefits are green, of course, green infrastructure advocacy. So monitoring of NBS impact to build evidence-based examples for further upscaling, and organizing design competitions, university collaboration, and outside the park, knowledge sharing across region to see case studies and best practices, improvement of green space regulations. So this knowledge sharing and awareness raising is a very important factor. We were thinking about using celebrities for known celebrities, influential people who can have more influence, and select the focus groups and their appropriate celebrities so that it may have more impact, and they will consider it seriously, and we will have better result. So regarding our next steps, first of all, we need to have the conceptual design for the park. For this, we have some gaps which we will cover it. So we will engage museum and local design firms. We have quite a good couple of local design landscaping firms who can be helpful in this exercise. And of course, we're going to engage the university staff and students. For this, we will do the selection on a competitive basis. First of all, we would need a landscape designer, preferably with an international expertise, who can assist with the preparation of the several concepts and the preparation of the TOR for the detailed design. So out of these 2-3 concepts, we will have discussion with the Yerevan municipality to choose one of them and then to proceed further with the detailed design. So what is missing is the cost-benefit analysis, which will include the nature-based solutions. Actually, we have done cost-benefit analysis for the road rehabilitation and some parts for the park, but it doesn't include nature-based solutions. So this is the missing part to understand what will be the dollar benefits and all this idea, what will be the cost for all these ideas to implement. And of course, master plan review, as I've mentioned, to understand what is the intention of the municipality to include it in the master plan, if the lake Yerevan restoration and forest area of 250 hectares or usage of the land of 66 hectares to have a new district there. If this everything is considered in the master plan, so that we will build our ideas, our NBS ideas and into this master plan, and we'll have better understanding of our next steps and the way to move forward. And for the next steps, we have a plan to have a bike walking loop around the Lake Yerevan, the river Razdan, which is the main river in the Yerevan city, and the park. So the bike lanes and the walking areas, so it will start from the park, as you saw, as I've shown on the map. So we'll start from the park. So this will be a great opportunity for the bikers because we don't have a dedicated bike lanes in Yerevan, which creates a lot of inconveniences for the bikers. And it's quite dangerous to bike on the roads. So this will be a great opportunity for them. And community engagement. So we will have key stakeholders to be engaged to understand what is the current usage and what ideas for the park and the design and rehabilitation we will need to do. And to reach this, we have to develop a good communication and outreach strategy to raise awareness and create interest. Currently, we are working with PIU, Yerevan Municipality PIU, on the development of the communication strategy for this. And of course, maintenance and monitoring. To understand, because constructing and rehabilitating, restoring is one thing, but all this requires good maintenance to sustain and to have a long-term impact. So we need to understand what are the maintenance requirements for Yerevan municipality and all the related costs. But unfortunately, we have some gaps in the Yerevan municipality staff for this maintenance. And we're going to organize a capacity building, around these maintenance needs. So thank you very much. And I would like to thank you, Lyndon and Ben, for their great support and great efforts to put all this together and to provide very practical recommendations, which of course will be considered in our future work. Thanks, thank you. And I'd like to thank also Isao-san for the opportunity to participate in such a interesting and useful workshop and to gain all that knowledge. Thanks a lot.
Sorry, no, it's not about ecology. Thank you so much. It's a very nice presentation. And I was particularly happy to see the component in restoring the degraded forest. And just for everyone's information, we are, ADB is part of this joint MDB statement on nature, planet, and people. That's what it says. And basically, the multilateral development banks, there's 12 of us. We have committed to step up our efforts in order to increase nature positive financing. And we are still working on agreeing on the exact definition. But one of the, features of the definition is this kind of activity. Restoring degraded forest is part of the definition. And the plan is for us going forward to be able to track within ADB such kind of projects, and then track the financing as well as the project. And so I think this kind of project is very much welcome, and there is a lot of push for moving towards this nature positive, not just the general integrating environmental sustainability in projects, which is also very important, but the part about this nature positive. So really creating, increasing the area of improved forests, and which aligns with the global biodiversity framework, the 30 by 30 target to have 30% of all land and water surface under protection globally. So that's the big target. So I think it's like these kind of, though it's small, but then it all adds up, right, eventually. So this is something which I think is very much welcome and in line with our efforts. And Chingai and me, we are working on the environment action plan. So this is one of the big things that we're dealing with. So just wanted to share that.
Thanks a lot for information.
And thank you so much, Anna, for your great action plan. Again, this is really encouraging. There are many, many important aspects. I think, sorry, I just share comments, but landscape perspective, that's excellent. That's exactly what we wanted to achieve. So you're looking at not only park project, but also other natural capital assets such as forests, river, as well as a lake. That's fantastic. By taking this landscape approach, I'm sure you can identify many opportunities for multiple interventions that in a coordinated manner. That's great achievement. Another thing is ecosystem services. I remember Brooke mentioned 4 services: provisioning, regulating, supporting, cultural. This project achieves all of them. It's really, I don't see such projects a lot. So I think this project, Anna, you have a high potential to become a, what do you call the, not poster child, but the poster project. Pilot. Beyond pilot. Flagship for replicating and scaling similar projects. So congratulations. Just quick 2 points additionally. Biodiversity, that's another great aspect. And again, NSFH, Nature Solutions Finance Hub, that is looking for great flagship biodiversity projects. So it would be good to be connected. Another thing is about the heat. I was happy to see that there's a growing sort of interest in terms of addressing heat problem with a gender issue. Our gender team is trying to promote good projects to address both heat and gender, and I will be happy to connect you with those experts in the gender team. That's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, yes, this project is going to be, of course, it's a pilot. So it's going to be, I believe that it will be successfully implemented and will be used throughout the Armenia for rehabilitation of the parks of this kind of, and using these nature-based solutions, because we have a lot of parks which really needs rehabilitation, not only in Yerevan, but also throughout the Armenia. Thank you.
If you have a cleaner system, maybe if you know you go to plastic basket, then you have better nature, then it's a nature-based solution. But I don't know if we can do it like that. Okay. So we wouldn't count another concept because it's there. It was listed as although it's trying to think whether like the biodegradable, the use of the biodegradable plant for agriculture, is that a nature-based solution as part of agriculture? That's the logic through which it's on. So we go back then to it and have it as part of the network and The river restoration is a major big solution for, let's say, water quality or water content, stuff like that, but not. So plastics relates to the water quality. Is it? So plastic pollution management is the major big solution for water.
Thank you for
Yeah, I don't want to keep you guys from talking, but I guess the bottom line is, as long as it's if we count it as a major big solution at some point.
finance partnership.
Very clear, right?
T. I would invite. Should I go with what is this? Kiyoshi doesn't have a slide. So maybe Tanya has. Maybe I should go with Kiyoshi first. Or should I go ladies first? I don't know. Because Kiyoshi might be. She does. Kiyoshi doesn't go. Maybe let's go with Kiyoshi first then. Okay. Okay.
They would count this as an environmental intervention, as not as a major. They would count it in major finance as well. They would count it as a major finance. But yes, but we would not count it.
Event.
Does that make sense? Okay. I was familiar
Okay, so 11.
In the whole, in a package set. I mean, we're talking about
I hope you had a good quick break. If you haven't gotten coffee, please go now. So I'm pleased to inform you that we have two trust fund managers, one from URTF, Urban Resilience Trust Fund. The other trust fund is Water Finance Partnership Facility. If I may, I just wait for one more minute and then start. I would invite Kiyoshi-san first and then Tanya. for our experts, just for your information, we have many trust funds at ADB, and there are quite a few of those that are very interested in investing in nature. I can just give you acronyms, but URTF and WFPF, they're the most kind of promising trust funds. We do have ACGF, A for ASEAN. That is also supporting really well. And then we do have NSFH. You have met those experts from that funding. That's quite new and it's growing. We also have Natural Capital Lab, which is not really a trust fund, but supporting nature investment. So those are the key 5 trust funds, finance facility. Additionally, there's a new trust fund with Canada, the government of Canada, that is focusing on private sector and nature. So those are the key financial facilities we are working with. Okay, now why don't we get started? We would like to invite trust fund managers. We do have, oh, now where's Kiyoshi now? Good. Yes. Great. So I would like to invite Mr. Kiyoshi Nakamitsu. Kiyoshi is the principal urban development specialist. He's from the sectors group. He's been leading a lot of urban projects. He's representing the trust fund. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kiyoshi. Thank you.
Thank you very much for inviting us for this session, Isao-san, and my pleasure to meet so many experts and team leaders on this particular topic of nature-based solutions. This is actually one of the areas that urban sector group, I'm actually coming from the urban sector group that we have been focusing on this nature-based solution for a few years. Over the last 2-3 years, that this topic is becoming a very popular topic whenever we come to talk. For the last 2 days, whenever I have an opportunity, I discuss that our team has been processing about $2 billion amount of loan, about 25 loans per year. And then those loans are basically addressing the issues such as access to clean water supply, sanitation, municipal solid waste management, among others. And then, so I myself has processed a few projects in the region. I'm actually now focusing on Central and West Asia region, and Armenia was actually one of my countries, including this ANA's project. So since this year, I do have a new role in the team, which is the trust fund management of the Urban Resilience Trust Fund, or we call it as URTF. And so I will just go through this maybe 2-3 slides, and then I want to take your question if you have any. So Urban Resilience Trust Fund, or URTF, was established in March 2023, and then this is going to continue until 2031. And this is the fund contributed by the UK government with the amount of 68.5 million British pound. This is about $82 million US dollars. And so this fund can do, I must say that we can do almost everything in terms of urban planning, upstream work, and also we can support the midstream as well as the implementation of the ongoing project. So it's pretty flexible. But then one important issue that we are addressing under this URTF is climate adaptations. And this is actually one of the key issues that we are looking at under this trust fund operations. And yeah, so under this URTF, we have 8 different themes. This includes integrated urban planning and air quality management. We have been talking about this issue with someone like Karma and the team. Water sanitation, solid waste management is also one of the issues. Disaster resilience, greenhouse gas reductions. This also need to be linked with adaptation measures. And then urban mobility social services. This is like a bus rapid transport project. We have actually processed one application in Jakarta, Indonesia. So this is actually a very exciting project supporting for BRT system in Jakarta. Community empowerment is another project that we are supporting in Indonesia again. This is in the new capital city of Nusantara. But then any of those 8 themes, one of them is a nature-based solution. So we welcome application from a different team, and then let's see how we can address. Out of the coverage, we have 24 different countries. It's a bit difficult to see the dots, but then basically what we are doing is 14 Pacific countries, including the Northern Pacific, as well as the southern part of the Pacific, like Cook Island, Tonga, etc. In particular, we invited the delegation from Cook Island to Netherlands Water Learning Week. And this is the event organized by my colleague Tanya. She's going to come to talk about her trust fund. On the side of URTF, we have been working with the UK government, and then they do have a lot of interest in this issue. They're actually inviting us for a nature-based solution workshop with the Cambridge. I think they do have some experts that they want to introduce their own approach. So now we are in discussion on this kind of partnership. All right, next slide. Yeah, that's maybe I just came here to talk about the brief overview of this project, but Isao and I are talking about what we can do together. So we have project-specific support in terms of preparing, reflecting the nature-based solutions as part of their detailed engineering design, master planning, or maybe the urban planning exercise. So this is part of the our core mandate of the URTF operations. But then we are also looking at the more like a knowledge sharing or capacity development component. So this is actually very good because I have seen many officers from DRC, Bangladesh, and other countries. But then what we want to do is to bring our client together, because in many cases, our clients are not really convinced, to be honest. So they need to understand what's the merit of doing this nature-based solution project. So in this context, we are looking into a partnership with the Isao-san's team as to how we can integrate this knowledge sharing session. So one approach that we do is we bring expert from our client country, and we go to a few cases that we have done is we did municipal water supply training in Manila, because we have one municipal company in the Metro Manila doing a good job. So we do have some theory, maybe the lecture with this kind of setting, but in the afternoon, we actually go to see the plant. And then So as I said, the seeing is believing. I think we need to see what's happening on the ground. So this is one example, the solid waste management operation. We did one training in Kitakyushu, Japan. We brought our client, about 30 of them, seeing the integrated landfill site operation with the recycling and reuse of the waste management operations. And so this kind of approach, they can learn what is the best practice, but also we can increase our portfolio because our core part of ADB operation is to have a lending operations. We want to have more project. So that's what we are doing. But then I'm here with Joy. She's our focal of the nature-based solution, and she's actually working with many different people in the team. So Joy, you want to come and just say hello to everyone, and then we can give it to Tanya. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Kiyoshi, and hi again. I think I've interacted with practically everyone in the room. Kiyoshi has spoken much about URTF. I will not have a lot of additions to that. I just share my impression that I am very happy that there are going to be more nature-based champions. So there's a league now joining Isao, Karma, and Chingai, and Victor. And we're happy also that these lessons building up over the past few years are now really taking shape and being more prominent in ADB. I remember working with Isao also for the New Clark City to support with the private sector and then the government. And based on some lessons there and some identified needs, the team of Isao has taken that forth with this project clinic. Also on the observations, I was here with you on throughout Tuesday, and joining again today, I've seen how the ADB colleagues have actually factored in all the lessons and the recommendations coming from the technical experts from the Nature Conservancy, Monash University, and also ADB. When I saw the slides and listening in, I've seen how it evolved. So if we could have more projects like that, I think it's going to be amazing. So that nature-based solutions are not just add-ons to project, but they could actually have the potential to be the flagship project. So again, please free to reach out to us. Kiyoshi and myself are part of the Urban Resilience Trust Fund, and we're supporting 24 developing member countries. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Kiyoshi-san. Thank you, Kiyoshi, for your sharing useful information. I would like to keep question and answer section later, just mindful of time. Tanya, I would like to invite my long-term colleague, Miss Tanya Hauser. She's the Senior Water Resilience Specialist. She's from Urban Group in the sectors group. She has been taking care of many NBS projects. She's the NBS focal at the sectors group. She's the leading member of our Community of Practice Nature-Based Solutions Working Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tanya.
Thank you very much, Isao, for this lovely introduction. It's indeed, it feels already like a long time that we're working together, actually since the start, when I started in ADB less than a year ago. So a lot of things happened already in a year of time. It's good to see so many familiar faces and also some new faces working on the projects that we brought to the Netherlands in April. So I'm very happy with Isao's and also Victor's approach to really connect learning initiatives that we have in ADB to bring projects further. It's good to have TNC here. It's good to see you again, and also the team around you. And I was very amazed by the presentations of the different teams and the way it was structured. Not only because it was very clear, and I think it really helped in thinking about the beneficiaries and how to approach things, but it also helped them and me to understand how I can support them and our team, of course, of the water financing partnership facility in the next steps in terms of capacity building, technical assistance, all kinds of studies or knowledge products. Just like to take you along with this facility. We have a team managing it, and it consists of 3 trust funds: the Water Innovation Trust Fund, the Water Resilience Trust Fund, that's the one I'm managing myself, and the Sanitation Trust Fund. And we have several modalities to access these resources. So it could be as a grant component to an existing loan. We can attach a TA to a loan. Project officers will do that. It's like topping up a TA that's often already attached to a TA or to the loan. Standalone TAs, or we can do direct charges, and I will dive into that a little later. From the partnership facility, we also have 2 ongoing TAs, so they are fed by the funds from the trust funds. One of them is not so relevant for nature-based solutions, but TA 9875 is the one I'm managing, in which we already try to support some projects with involving experts on nature-based solutions in projects. So mainly project design and implementation support. It's usually up to 100,000 euros. Now, okay, when we look into depth, the Water Innovation Trust Fund is funded by the government of Australia and Spain. And actually all countries, developing member countries, sorry for the acronyms, are eligible. But there is some kind of priority on Central Asia for this one. However, we can fund any country from it. Focuses on innovation doesn't mean that we're talking about digital innovations only, right? It's all about approaches. So if nature-based solutions is still, although it's not that new, but I think it's still an approach that we're learning. So if there is a innovative component, for example, in how to do the maintenance of nature-based solutions, we can fund it from this project. How do we do that? Project team leads in ADB who are preparing or implementing a loan project will approach us. In this case, if you like to apply for the Water Innovation Trust Fund, you can approach my colleague Fatima, and they will then discuss what would be the best way to do it. So how much budget would you need for what you request? Is it up to 225,000? Then we can consider direct charges. A large benefit of that is that it can be any moment, and we can be quite fast with that. So within 2 weeks, it can be approved. And it's easier to process, right? If you need more budget, up to 500,000, you can apply in our rounds. So 30th of September, we have the next deadline. So if you are aiming to apply for that one, please come to me today. We can discuss today or tomorrow. We hope to receive your template. So we have a template that you can fill in to request, and also not only what you need and why you need this trust fund, what activities you will do, but also to add how it contributes to the different targets of the trust fund. But it's not a lot of work if you have in mind what you need. If you're still processing on what is needed, we're happy to discuss it with you and help you and steer you with that. But then it might take a little bit more thinking power, I guess, to fill in the form. But we're happy to discuss not only about the content and what you can request, but also which trust fund would be the best fit. So this team is really working closely together, and we're also working closely together with the urban team on what would be the best fit for your budgets or for your requests. Yeah, so this is focusing on design thinking, on innovations. The second one is the Sanitation Financing Partnership Trust Fund. It's funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And it's actually an exact similar approach, only the thematic criteria are slightly different. So it's about non-network sanitation, it's about sludge management, and the citywide inclusive sanitation. And definitely also related to these topics, you can consider nature-based solutions. So just to keep that in mind. And my colleague, Jitendra is managing this one. So if you consider nature-based solutions in this context, then please reach out to him. The Water Resilience Trust Fund is funded by the Netherlands and has a few focus countries. It's Bangladesh, India, Indonesia, the Maldives and Vietnam, and the SIDS, the Pacific Islands. However, like I said in the beginning, this is mainly related to technical assistance. We can also support regional projects. In regional projects or regional initiatives, we can contribute to more countries. For example, the Learning Week, there was a regional initiative covering also PRC, Armenia. So yeah, that is definitely possible, in particular for capacity building and knowledge development. I think that's more easier, but also for technical assistance, it is possible. So everything we can discuss. Yeah, besides nature-based solutions, of course, the fund has a larger coverage. And I like to point out that we also try to do more with the private sector, but it's still very limited. I don't even have examples on how to do that, but I like to make you aware of that we're seeking for opportunities on that as well. What else can I tell? Yeah, I told you it's about capacity development, developing this knowledge base, and we also contribute to policy dialogues and help governments with institutional reforms and so on. So it's really broad. If you're interested, reach out to me. I think I already have some appointments with the Bangladesh team to discuss several opportunities. Okay. Yeah, what we did, my colleagues and I, we looked at our applications over the last years, where nature-based solutions were addressed as one of the targets or one of the activities that were done or are actually ongoing. So I'll give you some examples. Do not ask me about these projects because I'm not involved myself, but I just like to give you the impression what kind of activities on nature-based solutions we are supporting from the trust fund. You might notice here it's mentioned Netherlands Trust Fund. The Netherlands Trust Fund is closed by now, actually a few months ago. But it's actually the Water Resilience Trust Fund is the follow-up of the Netherlands Trust Fund. In Bangladesh, we supported the climate and disaster resilience small-scale water resource management projects by supporting them in how to use nature-based solutions to stabilize the steeper embankments in this project. So it's actually a very technical way to support. What I like myself a lot is because I saw in my previous life that operation and maintenance is really challenging for nature-based solutions, that there was also a focus on this. And while I'm talking to you about this project, I think it will be really interesting to extract the lessons learned from this project and maybe also share it among US colleagues. So that will be a next step on my action list. Another one in Bangladesh, it's very popular, is actually recently approved, the preparation of a comprehensive strategic drainage master plan in the city of Dhaka. And we contribute to the study of design principles and guidelines for emphasizing nature-based solutions and blue-green infrastructure to be incorporated in this drainage master plan in the city. I'm not even sure it already started given the situation, but it was approved 2 months ago. In India, we combined several projects in one application. That's also possible. And this one is focusing on strengthening resilience in agriculture, food, nature, and rural development. And we want to make sure that international best practices are considered in this, also in relation to nature-based solutions. This one has more like a coastal focus in Karnataka and in Kerala. And in the Sundarbans in West Bengal, we support on delta management. It's actually more upstream, so really focusing on the river basin management in that area. And the good news is that I think as we speak, we are hiring an expert who used to work for the government in the Netherlands on operation and maintenance to already give upfront of the project advice on how to incorporate that in the project. Another regional one is developing the climate, food, nature investment in the Pacific. It's a lovely picture, isn't it? And what was included here is that, again, consider nature-based solutions in the design of these investment projects as well. So it's about coastal resilience in Fiji, it's integrated flood management in Samoa, and we look into climate and disaster resilience in Tuvalu. So it's focusing on 3 projects. I know the overall program is probably even bigger than that, but yeah, the funds are also limited, and maybe lessons learned from these projects can be also scaled up to the other small island development states. In India, we have approved the Urban and Water Project Support Facility, or actually we are supporting this facility. And here is more focused on the capacity of the catchments. So how can we incorporate nature-based solutions to strengthen the water retention capacity of catchments in urban flood management projects? Like I said, I'm just sharing this to give you a bit of an idea on what directions you can think to apply for this trust fund. Then an example from the Water Innovation Trust Fund might trigger the Thailand team. We supported them with designing a sponge city model for Thailand towards urban resilience. And of course, the use of nature-based solutions to benefit the sponge city concept has been assessed. And also multiple ecosystem services were included in doing that. Guidelines are developed. And the guidelines are also piloted in investment planning in 5 cities in Thailand. Another regional one by the Water Innovation Trust Fund is about mainstreaming green resilience and inclusive approaches for cities in Asia and the Pacific. In here, we really looked into the smart, innovative city solutions and how nature-based solutions can be included in that. Unfortunately, I don't have more information than what is on the slide for this one, but I will look into that. And if you're interested, I definitely like to share, because I think it's interesting how you combine nature-based solutions with the smart city concept as well. Okay, and then the most exciting one. The Asia Netherlands Water Learning Week was focusing on nature-based solutions. I think it has been touched on several times already today. But just to give you a little bit of an idea, we had over 50 people visiting the Netherlands, 12 projects teams, 6 from water and urban development sector group, 6 from agriculture, food, nature, rural development sector group. So a little bit more river coastal focus and a little bit more urban focus. And that's also how we developed the program. So parts were combined as a whole group, other parts were in tracks on urban or on coastal and river basin management. I talk about project team, and I think Kiyoshi also mentioned the importance of that. We had 1 ADB team lead or project officer involved, and 3 representatives from the countries. So 4 persons in total visited the Netherlands. And yeah, seeing is believing. Of course, we went into the field, we saw examples, but we also had in-depth sessions with experts on the project itself and how to bring it further and so on. And I really hope that in the future, Isao, we can work more together on these learning concepts. Because I said we sent 12 teams, but actually we had about 30 applications for this learning week. So it shows that ADB staff are really trying to bring nature-based solutions into their projects, but also struggling on how to do that. So very excited about these days. And yeah, it's great to seek the connection with the sector groups. And I hope we can find some ways to make you apply for the trust funds. Thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Tanya. I'm afraid we are late, so I would like to accommodate 1 or maximum 2 questions if you have. Or not? Okay, then thank you. So we proceed. I would like to invite Eric for leading the next section. We would like to talk about the next steps. Eric.
Thank you very much, everyone, for some great presentations. I'll try to go reasonably quickly. Once we see the slides, the purpose of this is to show you a couple of the tools that TNC has available from Brooke and my team, which is this rural resilient watersheds, and then invite Ben to talk about some of the Monash resources and Lyndon to talk about some of the TNC urban resources. We had a good question yesterday about how many tools are available. There are many tools. We will present the tools that we have and some of the follow-up resources. This is not exhaustive, but hopefully some good places to go for next steps as well. Like I said, I'll try and reasonably quickly move through so we can also open more space for questions at the end as well, including going back to the trust fund leads. Testing. We good? I think it's going to drive you all mad if I keep going. As soon as I got up here. Oh, I think we're good now. Okay. Fantastic. I'm going to move this slightly so I can see the screen better. Okay, like I mentioned, there are many different resources available. Here we have some logos on the screen. We'll go through many of these tools in the presentation. Some of these are TNC, some of them are Monash and the Water Sensitive Cities program, which kind of seeded the work that Ben is doing. Our partners, I mean, RUCM we've all heard of. Water Action Hub is a UN Global Compact CEO Water Mandate initiative, which we're also involved with, and there are others as well. And I believe these slides will be shared at some stage, so you'll be able to go back through in more detail. So from the TNC Resilient Watersheds team, which Brooke and I work on, TNC has been developing these watershed scale nature-based solutions programs for about 25 years. The first one was in Quito in Ecuador. The idea there was restoring high altitudes wetlands, which act as sponges, which store rain and snow melt and then release it down in the drier seasons. So for the past 25 years, TNC has learned a lot. And a couple of years ago, we worked with AFD, which is a French development agency, and centralized a lot of this understanding into some guides on developing these, what we call watershed investment programs, WIPs. So there's some more jargon, but you might call these catchment management programs, NBS plans, or anything like that. So there's a main document, guidance, and then several deep dives which go into key additional aspects like economic and financial analysis, which Ben and I spoke about yesterday, governance, monitoring and evaluation, and others. You can see the list there. There are some examples. We went through Cape Town yesterday, but there are many other examples like in Nairobi. Some of you may have heard of Tana. That came up in one of the conversations yesterday too. And here are some screenshots in the top half of that slide from those guides. So we have those project cycle steps we talked about yesterday or the day before, from understanding the watershed all the way through to kind of looking back and adaptively managing. We have some case studies there split by region and those deep dives. Actually, this week, we've launched an upgraded Water Funds toolbox. That's our web platform where we have case studies, tools, guidance, and everything. So if you follow that link, you'll be taken. As part of that Water Funds toolbox, we have a network of regular trainings and examples. This is seeing is believing has come up before. That's the kind of thing we deliver through this partnership network. And online trainings also available in addition to this in-person trainings like the one we're doing today. And here we see some more examples of those. So bi-monthly webinars, peer review and coaching, and then curated newsletters which come out regularly. So TNC, like I said, has been doing these watershed nature-based solutions programs for about 25 years. By 2021 or 2022, Brooke can correct me, we had about 300, we had amassed about 300 inbound requests from development banks, local government, water utilities, private sector, people saying, I've been to a training, I really want to do nature-based solutions in my catchment, I've read one of your case studies, what next? So what we did in 2022 was launch a team inside TNC called the Nature for Water Facility, which I'm part of. We're basically nature-based solutions TA experts within TNC. So when there are different parts of TNC which want support on NBS, we help them, but we also work with other organizations like yourselves, World Bank, AFD, and others, but also local and regional governments, private companies, and others who are interested in doing NBS. And we support projects all the way through the pipeline. So from very initial screening, so Ben and I spoke about some tools for that yesterday, waterproof and infuse, all the way down to implementation, where maybe a program has been active for a few years doing NBS, and they need to re-strategize or design a monitoring plan, for example. As part of this training, each of the projects receives 2 pro bono days of support from Nature for Water. So some of the next steps we've been identifying, we can help move some of those forward. I believe that's been communicated already, but worth underscoring that we're not going to disappear at 12:01 today. So within Nature for Water, we have 4 main kind of pillars of activity. The first 2 you can think of as technical assistance. We have raised some grant funding, so we're able to offer technical assistance for free to priority projects. We have various criteria we use to select those projects, which are available on our website. We also have fee-for-service partnerships or fee-based partnerships. We use different terms for that one. That's essentially paid TA as the kind that you're familiar with. That's generally the case when we're working with private sector organizations or programs in developed countries where we expect that they have the funding to pay, so we can then offer the pro bono TA to local NGOs and perhaps government entities that do not have the resources to pay for our time. Thirdly, we have there in red the Ground Outcomes Fund, so we do fund some pilot implementations ourselves. This is the case where, let's say we have a sponsored engagement, so pro bono TA for a program which isn't able to pay itself, and we have done some return on investment analysis, and we say that the story looks really great, but we need to do some pilots to really prove that out and motivate follow-on funding. So we can come in on that side as well. And then knowledge management, that's come up as well. That's a real key focus for us. We open source a lot of our knowledge and tools and case studies, and we're always eager for more partnerships on that. I think earlier this year or towards the end of last year, we signed an agreement with a couple of organizations based in the Netherlands to do similar things as well. So we're excited to pick up further with ADB going forward as well. And here's our Nature for Water map since 2022. This is slightly out of date. We're at something like 35 now. I won't go through these, but you'll recall from my examples yesterday, each of these programs is very different. We touched on Norfolk on the first day. That's on-farm practices about water quality. Ghana is smallholder agriculture, erosion management. Cape Town, we also spoke about invasive species control. Argentina is high altitude wetlands in a city called Mendoza. If you've had wine from Argentina, it's probably from the catchment that we're working in. And California, aquifer recharge. There's an interesting scheme there where farmers who recharge water receive a discount on their water bill. So if you imagine having a solar panel on your house, when the sun shines, your meter runs backwards. It's the same deal there, but with water pumping. So some interesting innovation going on. And waterproof, we touched on yesterday. This is a free online tool where you can select your watershed, tell waterproof more or less what your water treatment infrastructure looks like and what your NBS options might be. And it will generate a very quick ROI and opportunity mapping for you. I won't go into more detail here because we spoke about it yesterday, other than to say that there's free training information available online and you see the links there. Like I said, I think this will be shared, so you don't have to copy those links down now. And I'll hand it here to Ben.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, just it was fantastic to see the word cloud from our colleagues from the trust fund that sort of identified the important issues to the participants in that what sounded like an awesome week. We saw the big words there are also reflected in the questions that are coming out from our discussions. How do you quantify benefits? How do you design maintenance? How do you identify good NBS solutions for particular places? These are recurring questions. They have been around for a long time. And certainly within Australia, we have been thinking about these ever since our 13-year drought and the 2 years of floods that followed. And that led to the water sensitive cities movement that we've been talking about over the last couple of days. That 10 years of research across, taking into account the tropical north of the country, the arid centre and the temperate south, produced around 1,700 knowledge outputs, and they're all here. So if you're thinking about coming up with a plan for your urban area and how that sits within the broader catchment, that research ranging from technical papers in respectable journals all the way through to one-page fact sheets, tools, training programs, and a bunch of videos are all available on here, and they've been curated under various themes, including the governance, which includes the economic evaluation side of it, the urban metabolism, urban livability, environmental performance, circular economy, the essential services. So how do you make sure that when you're particularly in a developing country, that you make sure that those fundamental needs are met while we start talking about things like livability and obviously community engagement. It's a circle because they're all connected. And so a big part of this is how do you actually think about more than one thing to solve more than one problem? There's included in here, there are tools. Just quickly, illustration of the reports. We've developed an index that basically asks how water sensitive is your city. It's been applied in more than 80 different locations in Australia and around the world, including particularly the Asian region. It basically provides across a range of different criteria. How are you performing in terms of thinking about your water supply, your sanitation, your drainage, your waterways and wetlands, and how do you think about that as a connected water cycle within a connected city? There's also tools there to support you to improve the level of your water sensitive city. So we've got tools there to understand where you are, to visualize where you want to go, and to come up with the place-based strategies that will help you get there. Including, we have a scenario tool, which is a visualization of strategies. So if you want to, if we're thinking about Kumatas Park within that broader catchment and the contribution that it could make to the development upstream, or how we can support development upstream in a way that improves the lake downstream, this tool can visualize that GIS layers, dashboards looking at the performance in terms of an urban metabolism. And there's also tools in there ranging, as I said, ranging from detailed models to fact sheets on specific issues, including river restoration. We've been supported by the Australian government to take that experience of over a decade applied in more than a dozen different countries around the world into a very simple guideline, following those 5 steps that we've talked about over the last couple of days. So that's available. We've also done a bunch of case studies in different places, looking at, responding to those questions, those challenges of my place is different, I don't know how to do it, and who's going to pay for it. So they're providing practical illustration in different countries using those 5 steps. Our current flagship is RUCKUS, Resilient Urban Centres and Surrounds. As I said yesterday, we've been working in these countries with colleagues in country. This is a demand-driven project, and we're now moving into piloting. We've done 8 case studies. We're now moving into demonstration of concept through physical interventions and looking at doing that in a way that supports upscaling. And then finally, every now and then, because we're an academic institution, we like to just stop and take a step back and say, we're working in all these different places. What are we learning? And so we've got our little think tank. We've produced a number of papers. The first one that we did was starting with utilities. I'm from a water utility. So it was, what does a utility of the future look like in terms of doing its core business and partnering with others to have that broader urban system impact that we've talked about over the last couple of days. Working internationally, we also see that what works in the centre of the city will not work on the informal fringe, often the growth areas where the density of people and the paucity of infrastructure means that it'll take a decade, more than a generation, for big pipes and sanitation systems to get to these people. And nature cannot process the volume of waste that is being expected through things like traditional things, through things like septic tanks and wash. And that's now been, the concepts here have now been proven or scientifically through the Resilient Urban Centres and Surrounds project in Indonesia and Fiji. And also too, we're saying, well, how do we take the experiences of very different places and think about how do we create cities of the future? So if you feel like if you've got 5 minutes in or 10 minutes in your day and you have a cup of tea and you want to have something looked about that's a bit different, something to think, help you think about things slightly differently, they're quite helpful. Now pass to Lyndon. Thanks.
Yeah, hi everyone. For those of you who attended the sessions yesterday and the day before, I prefaced this work a little bit, and actually it's soon to be launched. It's called the GSI Impact Hub. GSI stands for Green Stormwater Infrastructure. It's a term commonly used in the United States with water utilities. And we were joking yesterday at lunch that there's a proliferation of hubs. So we're adding one more to the list. So this is a project that I've been working on in partnership with water utilities across the United States and Canada. And it seeks to capture, really quantify co-benefits around green infrastructure in cities and communities. So as part of this hub, there's a series of 5 benefit guides that have been developed looking at specific GSI co-benefits, such as flood risk reduction, urban heat reduction, urban habitat, transportation, and green jobs and economic development that do really deep dives around these co-benefits that come with green infrastructure intended for stormwater management to really build the case and be able to they include literature review. So it's really looking at evidence-based information about, what are the co-benefits? How can you design and cite these practices to maximize whichever co-benefit you're most interested in? And then what are funding options for doing so for water utilities? In addition, there's a web-based tool that's been developed. Right now, it's specific to the US and Canada because that's the partners we've been working with, but there could be the opportunity to expand it to other geographies in the future. Okay, so these are just the guides. You can see them here, the 5 different guides. The transportation guide is just being finalized in the next couple weeks. Oops. And so this is just some screenshots of the tool. So really the tool is intended to help stormwater practitioners specifically generate a benefit cost analysis for proposed green infrastructure projects. So it requires minimal inputs, but you can, if you have more information about costs or timeline, you can manually input information, but it's basically, it's free to use and we want people to not feel burdened by the amount of information they need to access it. So it does autofill a lot of things based on which areas of the country you're in and some other key metrics around population, how much stormwater you plan to manage, those sorts of things. And then we've created a printable output page. So stormwater practitioners can take this information to key decision makers, including financial officers at water utilities, other city leaders, to say, look at all of the benefits that come with these projects beyond just, what we're interested in as a water utility. So it's really seeking to make the case for these projects and truly value all of the benefits that come with them. I'll stop there. Is that the end?
Cool. I think I'll invite back Isel.
Thank you so much, our experts, for your useful information. I'm aware of the time. So we would like to have the final closing session. I'll be very quick. I would like to give you a few announcements followed by my short remarks, but I would like to, Brooke, I would really like to invite you to give us your closing remarks, if I may.
Thank you, Isao. Just a few housekeeping things. We've taken note of all of these questions and the questions in the Zoom, and so we will respond to any that we didn't get to and we will share all of the resources that we just went through as well. And I really, really do want to encourage you to take advantage of the 2 pro bono per person days for each of your projects. It really is such a privilege to support. I think I can speak for all of my colleagues when I say that, you know, we got into this line of work because we wanted to work with really inspiring and impactful partners to do work that is worth doing. And so I should say that I don't get to work on project level work as much as I used to in my old job. My attention's often taken elsewhere. So I really do look forward to these types of trainings where we get to really dig in and creatively problem solve together. And it is such a great privilege to support the great work that you all are doing. You have the potential to make real impact, real tangible impact in people's lives and on the future of the planet. And so I think I speak for all of us when we say thank you so much for inviting us here and organizing. Victor and Isao-san, thank you so much for everything and for being wonderful hosts. We hope to come back again in the future. And we hope to see how your projects are continuing. We would love to hear the impacts, any challenges that you are facing so that we can improve and work together in the future. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Brooke. That's really nice of you. Thank you. I would like to give you a few announcements before my short speech. One, PowerPoint presentation. All the materials we would upload after we receive consent from our experts to our website. That's one. Number 2, there's a lunch meeting again with the experts, and we talk about the way forward. So immediately after this meeting. Number 2. Number 3, follow-up. I follow-up consultation. Thank you for your kind offer, TNC, for having extra time to meet with our project officers. We would like to coordinate with you and then trying to make a maximum benefit from this additional opportunity. Thank you. Lastly, there's a feedback form that I would like to ask for your feedback. Before you leave this room, please take your time and then give us your comments, suggestions, opinions, and we'll value them, and we'll try, based on that, we'll try to improve our performance next time. Please feel free to do this. I'll give you my closing remarks, but please feel free to do this survey. Thank you again. So I'm pleased to say that this event delivered what we were expecting. That is a theory and practice really efficiently and effectively. For the theory part, we have the lecture section provided the basics, really important basics of NBS with good practices and case studies. That was really, I think, informative. For the practice part, clinic design, project design clinic sessions provided a good venue for discussions and collaboration between our expert team and you, the project officers. And congratulations, you came up with really nice action plans that can be a basis for further preparation of your project. I would like to thank number 2, taking this opportunity. I would like to thank our colleagues, especially from the sectors group, urban group, agriculture group, as well as the VP MST for their generous support to this event. We really appreciate your generous, kind support and contribution to this event. This is really the one ADB approach that we are advocating. I'm very proud of that. Thirdly, our goal is investment, as someone said. we need to, Akiyoshi-san said also, we need to lead to investment projects. And our role from environment group is to support you, project officers and teams, to develop pipeline. And we are happy to continue to support you with our technical advisory service. I hope you can continue to count on us. Lastly, taking this opportunity, please allow me to thank my teammates, especially Victor, Mark, April, Kat, Cecil. They have been working really hard behind the scene for many months, actually. So I would really thank you, everyone, all for your contribution. So thank you very much. With that, I think I should conclude. Once again, thank you for all your participation, cooperation. That was great. And congratulations, you are great. I hope we can work with you again soon. I look, in fact, forward to working with you again soon. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon. Thank you.